All right, guys, something a little different today. I'm going to share with you one of the sales meetings that I recently did for our office entitled 15 Ways to Generate Listings Today. Some of these are old school, some of these are new school, but I promise you, if you stay with this, you're going to find something that you can apply in your business. What we do is we have these on every Monday. We gather all of our agents together that want to attend, and basically they have the option of being there in person, or because we have offices in different geographic locations, they can join via Zoom. You're going to see the recording of this on Zoom, so we'll get right to the information now.
All right, so we're going to go through the 15 ways to generate listings today. Again, some of this we've talked about. Some of this, if it's the first time you're hearing this, if you'll email me back, I'll talk to you about some of the ones that we did specific training on. With 15 of them, we want to hit them fast, and then I want to answer some questions if you have some at the end. And then also, as you all know, I'm available anytime if you have certain ones that you want to just kind of go through individually with me to sit down and create a strategy for your business with them. All you got to do is let me know, okay? So let's start with number one. Last week, we talked about digital farming. Guys, in my opinion, this is the number one way to generate listings today. I'm not discounting doing traditional farming. I think you should be doing that. But this is a way to really throw some gas on the fire. And digital farming, breaking down, just giving you the basics of this, of what we talked about last week, is getting an email list of a neighborhood or an area or a condo or whatever it is, and getting very specific with that email address. How do you get the emails? We talked about Cole Resource Center last week. Cole Resource gives you emails and also phone numbers for $99 a month. Fairly accurate, the most accurate we've found. If you want to talk to Cole, whether that be for this or something else, let me know, because we've got a contact person there that will work with us directly because of some of you that are already using them. So using that, generating and getting you set up with a digital farm, using MailChimp to put those email addresses in, communicating and adding value on a monthly basis on what's going on with the active listing, active, pending, and sold in that neighborhood really helps. We also talked about then taking that same list, because we got phone numbers, and beginning to use slide dial. Slide dial gives you the ability to drop a voicemail into anybody, into a group of people. So if you've sent out your email in your digital farming and you send it out to that group, to follow up 2 days later or a day later with an email that basically says, hey, it's Jimmy Burgess, just want to make sure you got the information I sent to you via email. And then just be soft with it. Just say, just checking with the neighbors, to see, everybody in the neighborhood, just to see if anybody would like me to, give them additional information, or is this information you don't want? Please let me know. I'll be glad to take you off the list from receiving that information. Just real soft. And then always use that at the end where, hey, if you're curious, values have gone up. If you're curious about your value, just let me know. I'll be glad to give you a free, no obligation, detailed valuation analysis now. So that's digital farming. We're going to go into, we got a full training on that. If you want that, I sent it out on Friday, but I can send you another link for that. The second one is unsolicited CMAs. Now, what this is basically this is going in and doing comparative market analysis for past clients of yours, or for owners that you know, or people that have signed up that are sellers that are getting information that you're sending these drip campaigns to. I want to give you an example of this. If you want a more detailed example, then I'll be glad to send you a copy of one of these. I did a few years ago. Back in the end of 2017, I took a list of past clients and also people that had either come in open houses that were owners, or people that had said they were going to sell within the next couple of years. I took that list, and in the fourth quarter of 2017, I did 72 unsolicited CMAs. Now, what I did is I would come in and I would record my screen. You can use Zoom. In case you guys don't know, you see where I just did that, where I just recorded this? You can set up a Zoom meeting, because you're all on Zoom now if you're watching this online. You can set up a Zoom meeting and record your screen just like I'm doing right now. And you can walk through and do a CMA basically and walk the people through and show them the value, okay? One of the cool things with that is then you can take and you can actually go in, show them the aerial view using the property appraiser's office. I'm going to do this just to kind of show you how to do this. And this will give you an idea. And I'm just going to use an example one here. So I'm going to go in here, search the records. I'm going to do a location address just because it's on the top of my mind right now. One over in phase 4 of watercolor, just so you can kind of see how this works. And let's see, let's get down here to Sunflower Street. So I'm going to use this one for example. When you go in here and you show the parcel map, okay? So now imagine I'm doing this and I'm basically coming in and I'm doing the CMA. I'm going to use for this example that I had a CMA sitting here. I'm talking to them about the properties that are there, and then I flip over and I say, here's your location. Here's our comparables. This right here is this one. So I'm going to use this for an example to give us an idea because I just did one of these for somebody. And I'm going to slide this over where we can see this. I can go in and I'll use it on the MLS, but I'll also say, as you can notice here, in August of 2018, this one right here sold for $1,015,000. So this gives us an idea where you can show people where they are, what the comps are, where they are in relation to their place, where you can get a good idea of valuation for those folks. Unsolicited CMAs. Like I say, I did 72 of those in the fourth quarter of 2017. First quarter of 2018, this is as I shifted in the second quarter last year into this position. I listed $11.2 million directly from those unsolicited CMAs. This works. So just make sure if you're out there and you're thinking about, well, I don't know where to add some value to some sellers, this is a great way to do this. This could be friends, this could be family, this could be somebody that's walked in an open house, whoever it is that owns, especially somebody that maybe has told you that they're looking to do something. The next one is to go out and look at the 5-month-old to 3-year-old expired listings. Expired listings are going to get a ton of attention right when they expire. But if you go in to MLS and I were to go to expired, for instance, and now when I'm down here on this expiration date, if I came in here and did 2019 and I went back and I did January 1, for instance, of 2019, and I did basically back to 2000, I'm going to just make it easy here because I'm doing this, 2015. I'm going to use, just for this example, you can do this however you want, but for area 18, what we're going to find is there were 791 listings that expired during that time. And you want to get real specific on this, and you want to get super targeted. Obviously, you want to focus initially on your personal price range that you're looking for, but you can get really super close on some of this stuff. Now, let's say that I just wanted to focus on the higher end prices, which don't we all? So if I did that, I can come down here and keep going down. And let's just for this example, let's just say that I'm using something like this. I'm just going to just pop on any of these. All right, so this is a condo at the point. And I'm looking at this and I can see, well, I'm going to use one that's even easier to do. That's not necessarily a condo because these houses are easier. See this 294 Casine Garden? And what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to go ahead and click the hyperlink here and see if there's been a sale because I want to know when this expired to see if somebody has relisted or they've sold it. This one expired in 2017, okay? August of 2017. So we're coming up on almost 2 years. Odds are something may have happened to this, but how I'm going to check is I'm going to basically come in here. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to scroll down to where it has the sales information. You see this one actually did sell. Most of these are going to sell. People want to sell. When you get to a place where you realize that expired listings, really, the person's raised their hand and said they want to sell, they just picked the wrong agent. And so what we want to do is we want to find maybe the easier ground to till, so to speak. So if we find these listings that are in there that are a year, 5 months or more, they're not getting that call. Like when they list the expired, the day that they expire, they're going to get a ton of calls. I mean, they're going to get flooded with calls. 5 months later, after they've fended off the sharks, so to speak, they still want to sell, you know, unless something has dramatically changed. And odds are they're not getting the calls anymore, and now there's an opportunity. So how do we do this? Because, listen, you don't want to just go in, you want to sell. You know, we want to have a plan of action. I would say develop some type of a plan of action that's systemized for these folks. And that can be as simple as text, email, drip campaigns where you're adding value. You know, it could be some things like, I hadn't even thought about this, but let me just kind of show you something that I did, and I can help you guys do this if you want. Let's see, I think I did this on, where did I do this? On, let's see, Huffington Post, I think. So I wanted to have a system for myself on how to do this, and I wanted to set myself apart. So look at this right here. This is an article I wrote for Huffington Post. 5 reasons your home didn't sell. Now listen, I can introduce you to editors at different places, but now when I would send this out, I was a little different than the average person that was just coming in hot, you know, want to sell your place. I was sending them this and basically telling them, you know, here's an article I wrote for Huffington Post about why your house didn't sell. You don't have to have written this article, okay? You can use articles or use this information, and if you want to, You got full permission to take this exact template, put it in your own words, plagiarize it, whatever you want to do, and use this and send this in an email. Make that part of your drip campaign. Say, hey, here's some information that I've written, that I write, that I've written for a number of people that are in the same situation you are. Odds are you still want to sell your house. You just chose the wrong agent. And then you just copy and paste this thing into your email. Here's something that I put together on how to do this. I mean, y'all just copy and paste if you want, or do whatever, okay? But you can pull this up and you have that as your part of your drip campaign. Start adding value. If they're in a situation where they still want to sell, what's going to be different that you can do? The way you can be different is to add value. Talk about your marketing plan. Go ahead and put the marketing plan together that you're going to use for most places and say, hey, odds are one of three things happen when you didn't sell. It's either price, marketing, or it's the way the house looks. It's the finishes, it's the needing updating, whatever it is. Then address how you address all three of those. When you start doing that, it's a little different than what everybody else is doing, and it sets you apart. But listen, you want to swim downstream, find these that have not relisted, that are 5 months old to maybe 2 years. Those people are still wanting to sell. They just didn't have the right agent, and the market just didn't respond, okay? Great place to start for looking for some listings. The next one, probate leads. Everybody aware of this, about probate leads? Know anything about this? So imagine our coastal market. Most times when someone passes away, the property has to be probated, okay? Odds are when it's owned, especially an out-of-town owner, when it passes to someone, in most cases, and listen, this is happening more and more every day as baby boomers continue to get older. Most of these people aren't living here. They don't know about who to call. They've hired an attorney, and basically what the process does is it gives them the ability to sell the property. I will say this, not all, but a lot of that generation that follows wealth, especially follows excessive, I don't want to say excessive, but strong amount of wealth that would buy a beach house down here for millions of plus dollars. Sometimes that second generation behind that is not as motivated. And not always, but so a lot of times there's a place there where maybe they need to sell that or they want to sell it fast. Here's the thing. When somebody is given, probate has to be filed at the county tax office, or I'm sorry, at the county records department. So the clerk of court will have all of this. I'm going to show you where to find this. The biggest thing is once the personal representative is named or the executor for the estate is named by the court, they can sell any assets they want in most cases. If it's one where it's supervised by the judge, it has to be approved. But in 90% of the cases, when the personal representative done, they can sell property, they can do anything they want for the estate as soon as they get that right. Most of them want to, because a lot of times when you've got a property that's this valuable, you may be facing estate taxes and you have to come up with cash. And this is a quick way to be able to gather a bunch of cash for that estate, okay? And to pay for those things. So let me show you how to get in there and do that. So I'm going to go over to Walton County. I'm going to use Walton County, but I checked it last night. They're all pretty much the same, okay? Walton County Clerk's Office, okay? Or Bay County Clerk's Office, or Franklin or Gulf, whatever it is. You're going to go to Official Records. So we're going to go in here and we're going to have to give them I accept to this, the terms of this. We're going to come into Document, okay? When you go to Document, all of this is, select the document type like I did right there. Thank you. And come down to Probate. Okay, see Probate Documents here? When you get to Probate Documents, now I will tell you that you're going to start, you can buy these leads also. I mean, there's a service, and I can't remember the name of it now. I can look it up if you want it. Pay about $300. It tells you everybody that has, every estate that has been begun being used in that county. But if you select Probate here, and I just want to go to, for instance, first of this year. So if I just want to go to 2019 and do January 1st, and then I do submit, this is going to give me information on all of these that have been done, okay? So if I go down here, these are the things I want to look for. Appointing personal representative, okay? Now, way I want to do this before I go, because listen, when I click on this, it's not going to show me this. It's not, you have to go to the clerk's office and request it, and they will give it to you. Typically, they'll charge you, I think it's 25 cents or 50 cents a page or something. But this will, in this document, it tells you who's been appointed. It gives you their phone number and their name. Sometimes it even gives you their email address. so you get the contact information, okay? So what I would say is the way I would look at this is I would come in here, for instance, and I would do this Felker, for instance. I would go into the property appraiser's office, and I would come up here and I would do a search for Felker, owner name, okay? Now, when you do this, this is going to tell you if there is something that is owned by that name. I haven't even done this, so y'all, this is shot in the dark. But John Dennis Felker. Let me go back over here to the property. Look at there. There it is. Estate of. Here's 2 properties that this person owns. I would go in and I would search to see if they have been listed yet. You can see it's already been named over into the estate. And so this is going to give you the ability to do the research on the properties, make sure it's something that I'd be interested in. This is a small lot, as you can see. But see if this is something that you may want to come in and look at from a standpoint. I look at assessed values. I mean, there's if it's assessed at 257, odds are that that it's worth obviously a lot more than that. One of the things you'll notice here too is, man, they've owned this thing since the 80s. So odds are they own it outright. This is a quick, easy place for this estate to get cash. And a lot of times these are places where they need the help. The estate, the person who's representative usually is not local. So one of the things that I would suggest you do with this group is how are you going to add value? Put together a list. This is what I did. I put together a list of all service providers that someone in probate might need. House cleaners, donation centers, consignment shops for furnishings, cleaning companies, me. You know what I mean? Who are the people that they really need? They need a valuation on this. So offer to give them a free, no obligation valuation of the estate's properties. Typically, the first person to talk to these folks wins because they're looking for the easy button, okay? And if you can add value and say, hey, by the way, I'd like to email you some list of like landscapers to take care of the yard since you're not here. You know, if I can be of a resource, any of these places, donation centers, estate planners, estate sale companies, all of these things that these folks are overwhelmed with. And you've got to understand a lot of times the person who is the executive of estate is emotionally involved in this also. They've suffered some loss. So this is a place where it's not, listen, it's right for listings, but this is a place where you can truly serve some people that can use some help also, okay? So I would just say make sure you do that. Once you find them, listen, they may not be ready to sell now. So once you've talked to them, though, say, well, listen, I want to send you some stuff on how to, on these things. If I can help in any way, please let me know. Once you have their email address, say, listen, I'm also going to give you an update periodically on what's going on with the values. Roll them into Boomtown. Put it in there as far as something where you give them an updated valuation every 3 months. What we were talking about, the unsolicited CMAs, this is a perfect person to do that for. Also, you can set them up on an e-alert with properties like theirs. Great place that most people don't even realize. And y'all, every day the estate situation is getting more and more dramatic. So from that standpoint, this is a place where you can really make some headway. And, when we were looking at this, I was showing you basically some of these folks just going to the document and putting in probate. If you noticed in Walton County alone, just in that first 10 days of the year this year, I think there were about 20 documents that filed. So there's a lot of opportunity here to help a lot of people. So probate leads would be number 4. Hey, I've been flying. Anybody got any questions right now? No questions? Here comes hey, y'all better get ready because I'm about to turn the fire hose on. No. Yeah. All right. Let me get a little more of this go-go juice. Let's go.
What are you drinking?
I know. All right. Now let's get to number 5, circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is overlooked, guys. This is pretty easy place to really start if you're looking to add some sellers and you're looking for people. What circle prospecting is just basically taking a sale that happens. Doesn't have to be your sale. If it is, that's even more juice. Circle prospecting is basically taking a dot where that is, circling an area around it, and calling and letting people know about the sale, neighbors about the sale. Most of our owners in a lot of these areas are out-of-town owners. They want to know about these sales. This is an easy call. All that looks like, and again, you can go back, you can use Cole Realty Resource, you can go to White Pages to get phone numbers. You can take somebody's name, find out that they live in Atlanta, you put their name and then start the area code. This is a great way to find numbers. Start the name, put the area code they live in, and then just let Google do its thing. It will find a lot of people's numbers for you. Its job is give it as much information as you can, but if you're looking for somebody's number or their contact info, A lot of times if you'll do it that way, you'll just put in where they live, the area code, Google will find those numbers for you, okay? But just make that simple call and just say, hey, we just had a house sale, 3 doors down from you. We're just letting all the neighbors know. It's actually probably moved the value a little bit. So we're just letting the neighbors know about this. This house sold in 10 days or whatever it is. And there were some people that missed out. So if you know of any of your neighbors or you've been considering selling, please keep us in mind. If you'd like to get a free updated valuation analysis, we'd be glad to do that because you may be surprised at where your value is. And then just be quiet and let them talk, And most people are super thankful that you called. In a lot of cases, especially out-of-town owners, this is their biggest asset. So when you call them and say, hey, the house 3 doors down just sold, give me a call. I'll give you an updated idea of what's going on and I'll give you an idea of what this sold for. They're probably going to call you back if you leave that voicemail. It's a little different, you know what I mean? And then they call and just say, hey, we're just letting the neighbors know that house sold. Are you familiar with that house? Oh yeah, that was, my friend so-and-so's. Great, yeah. So, it gets a conversation started. Don't discount the value of circle prospecting. If you're wanting to do something fast, this to me is one of those ways you can really get some, especially if you're in a neighborhood that hasn't had one sell in a while, and then you have one sell, statistics are from the National Association of Realtors are that another house will sell in 4 months and 3 will sell within 11 months. So that place is wide open. Somebody's going to list those properties. Somebody's going to sell them. Might as well be us, okay? All right, circle prospecting. Now let me go to another place that people miss sometimes is Make Me Move on Zillow. All right, so I'm going to go to Zillow real quick and just show you exactly how to find this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 2 of them right here. I'm going to do 6 and 7. Make Me Move on Zillow and FSBOs. If you remember when we had Chris Stewart here, he was talking about the number of FSBOs are going down. It absolutely is, but there are still opportunities out there because the majority of these at some point are going to list their house for sale. Okay, so unless they underpriced it, and then the market's going to respond and going to buy it. Okay, so just go to this section once you're on Zillow to buy. Click buy. When you come over here, I've already got it circled for 32459 in my search. But if you go to listing type, just click all of these off, and I'm going to show you which ones to click. Okay, I want to go to for sale by owner, and I want to go to Zillow Make Me Move for potential listings. Okay, now when I do this, I just did 32459. And I haven't looked at this, but I'm just going to see this. The Zillow Make Me Move. I'm going to use this one for instance. 362 Gulfview. I believe that's over there, in Blue Mountain. I can't remember the name of the little subdivision that's right there before you get to the Village of Blue Mountain Beach. But this is one of those D.R. Horton houses that they sold last year. Yeah, that Highlands. That's it. Yep. So here it is, 362 Gulfview, asking $639,900. What I love about this is it does a lot of the research for you. So check this out. Tells you about the house, shows you the Zestimate, which can be is wrong, but that's okay because this will give you an information about exactly what's happened with this. They set their Make Me Move at $639,900 on 3/30/2019. 9/8/2018, they set it at $649,000. You'll see this that they bought it for $522,000 in 2018. Okay. Now, what's their motivation? I mean, they're just trying to pop this or something's changed and they're going to use it this summer. They're going to get serious. This is a great place. And what's great about this too is it gives you the ability to get more information directly from the owner. Okay. So if you go down here and it comes to get more information, contact owner, look, call. There's the owner's phone number right there. It tells you their number. It gives you the information. Okay. Great place to start from a standpoint of getting an idea of exactly what we're looking for, which is people that are raising their hand and say, I'll sell. In this market, knowing where somebody is that will sell is great. All these blue ones are, these are Make Me Moves right here. There's some hidden. These are for sale by owners, okay? So what I would do if you're looking at these are a great place to implement some of the for sale by owner things. I would suggest, and listen, we have some of these assets if somebody wants them. As I remember, I got to find it. But we spent about, I think I did, and the company, when I was making the shift, the company, I just gave it to the company, but I spent out $2,000 for some systems that were put in place for expired, and it was just like mailers. It was examples of what people are doing that are doing it well all over the country. Also, it had emails, it had texts, it had collateral, all that stuff. With FSBOs, the key to FSBOs is they're going to sell. Most cases, they're going to sell. Most cases, they're going to come to an agent. The agent that wins with this is the one that adds the most value and stays consistent the longest. So set up a system. If you have a system, it doesn't have to always be cost, of adding value. Me personally, I went and put together a package for sale by owners back in the day. And what it was I went and bought a contract at, because I didn't want to give them the realtor contract. Bought a contract at like, I don't know, Home Depot or something, not Home Depot, what's the office supply store, and just basically provided that in a folder. I gave them a list of all the resources they might need: title company, surveyor, appraiser, home inspector. Now what I'm doing is I'm giving them an idea of all of these things they are going to be responsible for and telling them where they can do them. And I'm just basically saying, listen, I want to give you as much information. I hope you can sell your house. But if you decide that you get to a point where it's overwhelming to you, please just let me have an at bat. I'd love the opportunity to at least interview for the position. Now, then you come back and you send them the next week. You add some more value. What could that be? What does a for sale by owner want to know? How to do a Facebook ad. Man, we just had a training on that, Show them how to do it. Overwhelm them with the opportunity there. You know what I mean? And say, listen, here's the thing that's generating a ton of leads for us is there's very targeted Facebook ads. Here's what we do. Here's a video how you can do it. Record your screen and send that to them. They're not going to do it, y'all. I mean, they're not. I mean, most of y'all aren't going to do it. You're going to hire Josh or somebody. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, give them the opportunity to see all of these things and how to do it. And most people eventually are going to find a time when they're going to say, listen, no mas. Please come list this thing for me. So if you just keep adding value, keep helping them, you're going to be that person of choice once you get to that point. So that's Make Me Move on Zillow. That's FSBOs. Now, number 8 is valuation analysis ads on Facebook. What I would say about this is it's pretty simple, y'all. If you do this enough, you're going to get some leads there. You're going to probably want to have some type of valuation company that will do an electronic one where they can get it real quick. You know what I mean? So that if they type their address in, it'll give them an electronic. Really, most of those are going to be wrong. But it gives you the ability to capture the information and follow up and say, hey, I'm so sorry. Obviously, it's very difficult in our market for an electronic deal to do this because not every house is the same. And if you're one block closer to the beach, it changes your value dramatically. Let me just, if you bear with me, I'll get you a more accurate value. Now you got a conversation. So a couple of those places you can get those. Number 1, and this is number 9 about buying leads, Bold Leads, boldleads.com. Boldleads.com is a place that will run the ads for you. They will capture the email addresses. They actually even have a CRM that will do follow-up programs for you. I would say I would want more control of that. So I would take it where we're seeing some people that are using this is they're making that first contact with these folks, and then they're loading them up with an e-alert in their boomtown. And now they've got a group of seller leads. We've got some folks in Panama City that are doing this. They're generating 25 to 30 leads a month for $250, $300. These are seller leads. Now you have to understand, very similar to buyer side, on the seller side, these are going to be average, at least on their website, what they tell us is about 9 months on average for these to mature. But guys, this is where our systems come into place. Once we have the system set up and we have the e-alerting, we have it where we're going to give them these quarterly, so to speak, these different, these valuation analysis, unsolicited CMAs, promise you're going to list some of these places for sale. So you can either do it yourself, you can have Josh, or you can have, somebody like Bold Leads or somebody like that to create these ads for you. If you want to do that, if you want to know how to do it, just simply go to YouTube and say how to create, valuation analysis for realtor Facebook ads. I'll promise you somebody's going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay. But that's going to generate some leads. Number 10, divorced leads. 61% of every divorce results in the sale of at least one property. That's national trends. How many of y'all have had friends that are divorced? I mean, and there's always a house, unfortunately. We used to say this. Now, listen, I grew up in Defuniak selling real estate initially. And, we sold some, how should I say this, double wides. We'd sell homes and stuff. We used to say that a divorce was like a tornado. Somebody's going to lose a double wide. And so, listen, listen, we're in a different market, but let's be real. If somebody's going through a divorce, odds are there's going to have to be some assets liquidated. One of the things that's an advantage to divorcees right now, okay, and let me flip this to the positive. One of the things that's an advantage now is that most everybody has equity, okay? if they've been married and they've had a house for more than 2-3 years in any of our markets, odds are they've got equity. This is a great place to have the ability to help in these situations, okay? Now, I will tell you this. This is not cut out for everybody because you're going to you're going to get in the middle of some crazy stuff sometimes. But I will tell you this. Some of the listings that I've done for divorce, families that are going through divorce, have been some of the most rewarding listings I've ever taken because in the middle of all of this, I've been able to take some of the heat off. The biggest thing in most marriages when they fail is a lot of times is finances. And when you have the ability to take some of that off the table, I'm telling you, you're a godsend. One of the places to start with this is to start with divorce attorneys. If you know any attorneys that handle divorces, put together a packet of value, add some value to those folks. Give them something they can give their clients that is of value, whether that's a brochure, whether that's a packet, or what to do with your home now that you're facing divorce, something along those lines. It could be an article. It could be a packet like we talked about with just a list of people and things that they can do. Add value to that attorney, help them do their job better, and they'll help you. The second thing is listen, again, just like we were talking about with probate, all of that is public records when somebody files for divorce. I'm going to show you real quick where that stuff is. Again, they don't show this on there as far as, they're not going to show you all the details of it. But if you go to this document section on the clerk's office and you go to family law, and you go to this area and you go over here to, let's see, let me get over here to this. And let me go back because I want to make sure that I do this correctly. I'm going to go to family law. And I'm just going to show you some examples. Select, and I'm going to just do this off the top of my head and just see what happens, okay? So this could be very interesting. 2019, January, okay? I'm going to use January 1st. I'm going to do submit. Now listen, there are some of these you don't want to get in the middle of. Final, judgment or protection, all of that stuff. Dismissal, of these things. Final judgment of dissolution. I'm going to use this because, and you can't really see this, I'm going to move this. Final judgment of dissolution. This is the dissolution of the marriage, okay? Now, a lot of times there will be court orders for these houses to be sold, okay, to settle that divorce. I'm just going to click on this one and see what comes up, okay? Now, this is not going to show us anything in here. You're going to have to ask for this, but what I would do is I would come in here and I would do a search. Let me go back and do a search on this. That's a family name. That's not a family member. That's like for me, but I mean, I've got family that's named that, but that's not. So let me just look at this. If I search by the owner's name, and I'm going to go back to that search. What was that name over there? It is Brandon Wolf, okay? And boy, I apologize if anybody knows this person, but I'm just using this as an example, okay? Brandon Wolf and Ansley, it's a homesteaded property, and it's 364 Cox Road. Now, this is from January, so if we're looking at this, something's probably has happened if it was going to happen by now. But I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go back and I'm going to search for, what was that address one more time? Let me see what that address was. 364 Cox, okay? So I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit this search. I'm going to go to canceled active pending sold, okay? And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go to 364, or I'm just going to use Cox for the street name. Let's see if anything's happened here. If it has not, this is a great place to start, okay? 364, oh, there it is right there, sold. So, this is a perfect example of this. So this one sold last month. You know what I mean? It looks like Kirk Sprigler with Keller Williams sold this one, listed this one. And Caldwell Banker did that. The main thing I want you to get out of this is a place where you have the ability to truly help people, okay? And it's not for everybody. But guys, if I knew that 61% of the people that I call, there was going to be a house to sell, I've just increased my odds dramatically, okay? All right, now let's go to expired listings. I'm going to hit some of these things that are out there right now. Expired listings, obviously. Listen, guys, as we talked about, if something is expiring, bottom line is the people want to sell, they just chose the wrong agent. So how do you present yourself and make them realize that you're the right agent? It's systemized. You offer things that are different. It should be a systemized plan of doing what it is. If it's someone local, the best way to do it, is to put a package together and go knock on their door and take it to them. And if they're not there, leave it for them. They're going to get a ton of calls. Be one of those. The difference is that you're probably going to have to outweigh and take the time to get past all the other people when they stop. So it should be a 20-day to 30-day process of mailer, text, call, email. Mailer, text, call, email. Something along those lines. Again, we've got some plans out there if you want to do this. All you got to do also is just simply go online and get on YouTube and put expired listing plan for realtors. And there will be tons of them where you can take parts and pieces of that and put it together for you. Number 12, door knocking. Listen, it sounds old school, y'all. I'm telling you, old school never goes out of style. It just never does. It's like Run DMC. Never goes out of style. You know what I mean? I mean, it just doesn't. So door knocking still works. What's great about this and what's cool about this is literally like Bill Ullery did this in his own neighborhood last week. And I don't have exactly, I'm going to give you some rough numbers. He said he knocked on 157 doors in his own neighborhood. He talked to 49 people, I think 57 people, 57 people, I think. And he had 39 of them gave their email address and said, please keep us up to date on what's going on sales-wise in our neighborhood. He's literally now become that neighborhood expert. The second he starts dripping on these folks, now he's met them in person. He's not just another realtor, he's a neighbor. But you know, if you get a new listing in a neighborhood that especially has primary residence, go and door knock. If you're going to do an open house, have a flyer and go to the houses around it and say, hey, because a lot of times it's renters now, and just say, hey, just letting everybody know we're going to have an open house over here. If you'd like to take a look at it, you know, pop in. It's just a way to get the conversation started. So door knocking still works. Number 13, sponsor HOA meetings. Listen, all of the HOAs have annual meetings where all the owners come into town, they do their voting, or some of the owners come into town. Typically the most influential owners in that condo or that neighborhood. Offer to sponsor that. Spend some money. Offer to provide lunch. What you're going to get with that is you're going to get the opportunity to talk for 3 minutes. Don't even worry about what you say. It's just smile and hand them valuable information and say, by the way, for some of the owners here, I already send them updates automatically anytime something comes on the market, goes under contract, or is sold. Once you have their email address, now they go into the unsolicited CMAs. Now it's just dripping and constantly doing that. And you never know which one of them that's there is going to be like, hey, we're thinking about adding another one. Or I've got a friend that really wants to own it here. Or, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but that guy that's not here today, he's out. He's done. He's ready to sell. And then it's a simple, do you mind if I mention that you mentioned it to me when I give him a call? Now you've got a warm lead. So sponsoring HOA meetings is a great way to get in front of a group of sellers that are influential. Open houses is number 14. Listen, I don't know how many of y'all sat in open houses, but I very rarely will you sit in an open house and not one of the owners that's around that's a nosy neighbor is like, I just want to see what that is. And they're asking this. Yeah, probably going to get it too. You know, I mean, it's a great place to begin to talk with owners. Like I say, some will be ready. Some are coming because they want to know what their value is because they're thinking about putting their place on. Just have the conversation with those folks. Again, we're building that database also, constantly building that database. The more people we're adding up at the top of the funnel, the more they're going to continue to start falling out, the more systematic that is going to happen, okay? Number 15, and this is the most important one, devote 1 hour per day. 1 hour per day to working on sellers every day. And listen, it may be different. I'll tell you this, the most effective way is just calling people. I don't care if it's unsolicited CMAs. I don't care if it's calling people. I don't care what it is, adding people into a systematic approach. If you're doing an hour a day on sellers and you do it for the next 30 days, I promise you, you're going to get some listings. Promise you, you're going to get some listings. So how does this look? This is the way I used to do it. I used to do 15. I wanted to make sure if I knew that there were days I was going to do more, there were days that I was going to do less. But my goal every day, and it was on my top of my to-do list, I did a 5-5-5 plan. I wanted to have 5 people that I talked to that were either in my sphere of influence or that were past clients. Just checking in. Hey, how you guys doing? Own property? Man, this market's kind of, shifting a little bit here. You guys thought about what you guys might do in the future? It's just a simple conversation, okay? 5 people that I know, 5 people I don't know. That could be circle prospecting. If I'm in an open house, I could be meeting them there. It could be, just going out to, like we've talked about, dropping a phone call and having people call me back from a neighborhood. Whatever it is, 5 people that I don't know. trying to take those conversations and convert them into emails where I can systematically have them in an approach to follow up with. And then the other 5 people that I wanted to do were the 5 people that were on my hot list. Okay, these are people that have told me they're going to sell probably in the next 12 months. And you may be sitting there going, gosh, I don't know that I have 5 right now. Well, then just listen, do whatever one that you don't have, do 5 more of the other. Before you know it, you're going to have 5. If you make, 5 a day, 25 a week, and then all of a sudden you've got 100 that you've talked to, somebody's going to tell you that they can sell within the next year. Odds are it's going to be a group of people. If you're doing that consistently, you're building this up, all of a sudden now you've got this out. I did a really old school way. I would go into my calendar and on my Google Calendar, and I would take the people that were my hottest people, and I would roll out 30 days, 30 days, and 30 days, and I would put them on my calendar. And it would be unsolicited CMA for so-and-so at this address. And then when I pick up my to-do list every day, it was already out there. It was automated. And then as I did those unsolicited CMAs on a daily basis consistently, all of a sudden, wasn't that it happened immediately, but when the time got right, I was top of mind. So listen, I have covered a lot, and I feel like I'm going to take a breath now. We've covered 15 ways to find listings. Guys, the listings are out there. It is every day you turn on the hot sheet, people are taking listings. Why ain't it us? Why aren't we taking more? And bottom line is because a lot of times we can get distracted from what's most important. And if you build your business based on listings, you don't have to worry about buyers. I had somebody last week, they were like, I just can't find an open house to sit in. Go get a listing. You can sit in all you want. You know what I mean? So this is a way to really open up your whole business. When you get a listing, you're going to have buyers calling. You're going to have open house opportunities. You're going to have the ability then to talk to the neighbors, which just domino. Okay? All right. Anybody got any questions on any of these? No questions? Anybody had any success with any of these recently? Ronnie, I see you out there. Can you unmute yourself?
Unmuted.
All right, Ronnie, tell us the story about getting that last listing. What happened? What were you doing when you met those people? They got the ball.
Yeah, so I'm in VGB, Village of Grayton Beach, and I noticed that our traffic was kind of slow, and I look out into the streets, and there's a lot of sand and kind of construction in the streets. So I talked to our superintendent, and he said, I know, Ronnie. As soon as they get done with the pavers on lot 26, they'll come through and blow this all out. And I said, well, what are we talking time frame? He said, probably a couple of days. So I'm saying, I can't sell $700,000 houses with sand in the streets. So I get my broom and I get out there and I start sweeping that sand out of the streets. And one of our full-time ladies said she was out on her porch in her yard. And she said, what kind of real estate agent sweeps the streets? And I said, one that wants to sell a house.
Dang right.
And a week later, she called me. I was running in the preserve, and she called and said, hey, would you list Kevin and I's house? And listen, her agent, 15-year agent, she didn't go back to her. The other experienced agent that was a possibility, that was a part of the original deal, she didn't go back to her. So it is true. It's timing and being there and setting yourself apart in some way. Now, when I was sweeping the streets, did I think I was going to get a listing? No, it never entered my mind.
That's exactly right. It's just being out there, talking to people when you get the opportunity. Hey, Shelly and Susan, are y'all on here? I thought I saw y'all might be on here. If you are, you can unmute yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, guys, y'all are some of the best we got at listing properties. What would you say to the other agents now is most effective for you guys right now as far as getting listings?
We definitely do a circle, except for we do it in a whole section. So we get any kind of sale, we put it out to all the neighbors. We do that. We've done that for years. So that's just our go-to. And you will almost always get some kind of reaction. And we do it electronically in our newsletter. We also do it with postcard mail outs. So we hit them, people that we have email addresses for, and people that we only have paper mail addresses for.
Hey, and guys, if any of y'all are wanting to know how to do the monthly newsletter in a pretty cool and really effective way, reach out to, I'm stepping in your lane. I hope this is okay. Shelly and Susan, if that's okay. But if y'all want to know how to see how this is done really well, I think they do it really well. They utilize BombBomb in their newsletter. They add value about what's coming up on St. George Island. They also have some properties, and I just think they do it really well. So if you reach out, I hope I didn't jump out. That's okay. Susan, you mind if people reach out to add to that list? Listen, I would encourage all of y'all to join each other's, email list as far as to see what people are doing, because there's got to be a way that we can refine and we can collaborate on this to do it better. Shelly, are you there too?
Yes,
Maybe.
I'm here.
What would you say? Because you do a lot of phone calls. What would you say? How are these calls when you're calling? What's a typical call sound like when you call a past client or sphere of influence person?
Of course, they all want to know how the market is. And I try to just be very realistic, but always optimistic, which is, tough because we've kind of been through 6 months pretty slow since the storm over here. And I always do my research before I call the customer. I know it sounds basic, but it's very important. I mean, you really want to know as much as you possibly can, because they love that you know exactly what their neighbor's house sold for, or what the house a couple of blocks away sold for. And if you know more details about, who bought it, what were they doing? Did they finance? Are they going to rent it? They love that, because people just want to know information, but they want to know that you know the information.
Yeah.
So.
That's good stuff. Diane Peavy, are you there? I thought I saw where Diane was on. Diane, are you there? That would be no. Guys, anybody else have any questions? You got to realize this is what's great about this collaboration here. I was just looking at kind of who all we've got here and what's going on. And just on what I saw numbers-wise last week, there's literally roughly $10 million worth of new contracts that came in on just a few people I'm looking at that are here in this room and that are online here. And so, what's great about us as a company right now is that we've got people that really do want to help each other. I hope, and if you don't, maybe this isn't the company for you. But I just would encourage you guys, reach out to each other. This is how we're going to get better, is by sharing with each other. I've covered a ton of stuff this morning. In reality, all I was trying to do is just throw as much spaghetti against the wall as I can for you, to encourage you to figure out what it is for you. All of those work. All 15 of those work. And at some point, as we've always talked about in our, when we don't, as a company, we don't want to come from a place of theory. We want to come from a place of experience. I've taken listings from every single one of those that I just talked to you about. So from that situation, I would just encourage you to do that. Yeah, Tim?
I might have missed it. I came in 5 minutes late, but did you cover, or would you cover again? You had done something with BombBomb, and you were doing CMA evaluations of people, and you were taking and targeting an area, much like I'm doing, I'm getting ready to do, but you did it with BombBomb.
Yep.
Which really, I think, as opposed to video, this just really allows you to be in the best place to do it. And you did that, and that would be very helpful for me to see what you did.
Yep. So if you guys were not hearing what Tim just said, is he was asking about how are we doing some of these digital CMAs, or these digital unsolicited CMAs. One of the biggest tools for this that I've used that just has just kind of a cool effect. I don't know if it's going to let me do this since I'm basically doing this now with all of these places open and all this stuff going on. But I've used Google Earth in a way just to almost like a cool factor. So if I'm going to just do this real quick, just to kind of show you, because you could do this very, very quickly and just kind of show you exactly what I'm doing. So if I really am doing this, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do active pending sold for the most part. I'm not going to do a ton here. I'm just going to use this, take this straight off just from this standpoint and just do, I'm just doing that because it's closest by and it's easiest for me to do. I'm going to do, so for instance, then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do just houses. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to do view results. I'm going to come back over here, hit CMA. I'm just doing this really fast just so you can kind of see what this would look like. I'm going to do a quick CMA. I'm going to use this CMA. Basically, I'm going to do a lot of stuff breaking this down before I get to this point, but I'm going to have this on my screen really showing these. There won't be near this many when I'm doing it because I'm going to break it down to obviously where it's digestible for them. But I'm going to basically come down to the bottom end of this. talk about these that have active pending solds right here, what their average price per square foot is. If I'm focusing on one, it's not going to let me load this. Well, here it is. Okay, so here's where I would start. And I'm just going to show you exactly what I would do, for instance, if I were doing this for somebody, is I would come on there and I would basically just start this and I would record this video. I use BombBomb. You can actually use what we're doing right now with Zoom. Just record your screen. Come in here right now and simply say, hey, I wanted to give you an update on your house at 177 Sunflower Street. So to get you an idea of kind of what's been going on in the market, I want to pull this in where we can really kind of get a better feel for exactly what's going on. And so what we're doing here is obviously I wanted to show you where you are in relation to the comparable sales. Now look at this. This is, I mean, come on, y'all. This is high-tech redneck stuff right here, right? I mean, so I'm showing them this. I'm showing them this house. Then I'm going and I'm saying this house that's directly by the pool sold for $1,050,000. That sold in August of last year. So we can kind of see where this value is. That's 5 bedrooms versus 4 bedrooms. I'm showing them this. And then I'm stating that obviously if we get closer to the beach, we're going to see some valuation increases. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this 2D. It's going to come up and do this. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to zoom out some. So I'm going to make it, I'm going to zoom out instead of in. I'm going to zoom out here. It's going to show them where it is in relation to the beach. I use this for buyers, but especially for sellers. Now, if I'm talking to them about specific things and I want to show them something else, I click this 3D again, it goes back into motion. I mean, that's pretty cool, y'all. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to go back and I'm going to go into the CMA and I'm going to say, listen, here's our biggest comparables. I'm going to go through these that are here. I'm going to go through what the average price per square foot is. Usually I'm going to have something already done that says, based on the average square foot price of $526 a foot. If yours is 2,000 square foot, it's going to be $1,075,000, whatever that is, okay? And I'm going to show them that. So not every place is exact, so I'm going to give you a range. But if you want me to come in and get you a better feel, because it's going to depend on any upgrades you did, your furnishings if you're including them, and really where you'll be positioned as far as competitively right now, I'll be glad to do that for you. Hope this is helpful. Let me know if I can help in any way. Again, I'll probably send you another one in a couple months if I don't hear from you. But listen, if you want more details about exactly what your place is worth right now, just give me a call. That's all it is. I mean, literally, it takes you 5-10 minutes to put that together. You send that out, and here's what happens is when you get to a place where now you started building, if I circle prospected, and I'm not going to do this here because you got great agents all around. You got Rob Wheel living right there. You got Hunter living right there. You got JD over here. I mean, you got Tommy right there. I mean, I'm not saying this is the neighborhood I'm going to hit. You know what I mean? But if I were hitting this neighborhood, for example, you know what I mean? If I were hitting this neighborhood, for example, I just realized, man, I'm fixing to take a lesson up all up in their back door with all this because this is a past client of mine. So, but anyway, this will give you an idea of kind of how I do that. And when you start sending this out or you start circle prospecting, for instance, on a sale with this group right here, odds are you're going to get some email addresses. So what happens is when you start doing an unsolicited CMA, the same thing I did over here for the CMA, for that one is going to be the same thing I'm going to do for this person right there and this person right there. So reality, I'm just recording and saying the same thing, but doing it to 2 different, 3 different, 4 different people. So when you're talking about these unsolicited CMAs, I don't have the time to do all that. If you do one, it's real easy to flip and do 3 or 4 in a pile right there. Okay? Does that make sense, Tim?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got any questions on anything? All right. Well, listen, guys, that's all I got today. Listen, y'all know I'm here. Anything I can do to help, I'll love to do it. Okay? So don't hesitate to give me a call. I hope this stuff is helpful. But listen, if there's something else in particular that you're struggling with right now, don't let me be the last resort. Let me be the first person you think of, okay? Because, man, when people call me and I'm last resort, it's harder, you know? So let me know when you see some things that maybe you want to make some adjustments or strategy, let me know and I'll be glad to jump in and help any way I can, okay? All right, crew, have a great day.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you,
All right,
Jimmy.
see you guys.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right.